My name is Emily Carter, and for a long time I thought I had my life figured out. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and gossip spreads faster than the wind. I was the middle child of 3, with an older brother named David and a younger sister named Claire. My childhood was ordinary in many ways, but David always stood out as the protective older brother. He was 2 years older than me, tall, charming, and the kind of boy who could talk himself out of trouble. When I married Michael, the love of my life, I believed I had stepped into the perfect chapter of my story. Michael was kind, steady, and hardworking. We met in college, fell in love quickly, and married just a year after graduation. He wasn't just my husband, he was my best friend, my safe place, and the man I thought I would grow old with. Together, we built a life filled with laughter, plans for the future, and the kind of small joys that make a marriage strong. But life has a cruel way of unraveling everything you hold dear. It started one rainy night when my phone rang at 2 a.m. No one calls at that hour with good news. Michael had been in a car accident on his way home from a late shift. By the time I reached the hospital, it was too late. He was gone. The man I had promised forever to was taken from me in the blink of an eye. The days that followed blurred into one another, endless condolences, casseroles from neighbors, and the suffocating silence of an empty house. I walked through each room like a ghost, staring at his jacket still hanging by the door, his toothbrush by the sink, his favorite coffee mug waiting for him. Grief is strange. It doesn't just break your heart, it unravels your entire identity. Without Michael, I felt like half a person. My family tried to support me, but grief makes people uncomfortable. My sister Claire visited often, helping with chores, trying to distract me with stories. My parents called every day. And David, well, David was different. He had always been a complicated figure in my life, protective to a fault, sometimes crossing lines without realizing it. After Michael's death, he started showing up more often, offering to fix things around the house, bringing groceries, insisting on keeping me company. At first, I was grateful. I needed someone, and he was there. But then came the day that would change everything. It was about 3 months after Michael's death. I was beginning to learn how to breathe again, though every breath still hurt. David came over one evening with a bottle of wine, saying he thought I needed company. We sat in the living room, the TV flickering in the background, as he poured me a glass. We talked about childhood memories, about Michael, about how unfair life could be. For a moment, it felt almost normal, 2 siblings trying to make sense of the world. Then David grew quiet. He set down his glass and looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. "Emily," he said, his voice low, "there's something I've been meaning to tell you, or maybe ask you." I remember my stomach tightening. There was a heaviness in his tone that made me uneasy. "What is it?" I asked. He hesitated, running a hand through his hair, and then the words came out in a rush. "After Michael died, I started thinking about how short life is, how fragile everything is. I don't want to waste time anymore. I've always cared about you more than a brother should. And now, I want you to be with me." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The room seemed to spin, the wine glass slipping in my hand. "David," I whispered, my voice trembling. "What are you saying?" He leaned closer, his eyes intense. "I'm saying that I love you, Emily. I've loved you for years. And now that Michael's gone, maybe this is fate's way of giving us a chance." I felt as though the ground had been ripped out from beneath me. My own brother. My protector. The person I had trusted all my life, saying something so unthinkable. "David, no," I said firmly, setting down my glass. "That's not love. That's not right. You're my brother." But he didn't back down. Instead, he looked almost desperate. "Why not? We've always had a connection. People fall in love in unexpected ways all the time. I can take care of you, Emily. I can give you the life Michael would have wanted for you." Tears burned my eyes, but not from grief this time, from anger, shock, and betrayal. "Michael would never have wanted this," I snapped. "And I don't want this. I need you as my brother, nothing more." For a long, heavy moment, we just stared at each other. Then he stood, his face hardening. Without another word, he grabbed his coat and walked out, leaving me in stunned silence. That night, I cried harder than I had in months. Not just for Michael, but for the realization that my family was no longer the safe place I thought it was. And that was only the beginning.